Will Pugh's with us. We're looking at transfers. They're still 1-0 at the moment to Rangers. We never really talked about Zubimendi when the listener put that question in. Look, City, he'd be great for City at the moment. Maybe their need, in light of what Liverpool have done subsequently with Gravenberch, do they need him quite as much as City do at the moment? And will he move? He didn't go from Sociedad in the summer. There's been a few stories, Will, suggesting that he feels like he maybe should have made that move. So could he be tempted out in January?
Well, I mean, a couple of reports coming out of Spain saying that he's told his club that he's ready to go this summer. That again feels lots of these, and we've spoke about this before. When you hear lots of these transfer stories, lots of them you can tell if they're like agent led or not, coming from the agent side. I think with a move like that, the sort of money we'd be talking about, it feels like more of a summer move, and January for lots of agents in particular, and sometimes the clubs, is sort of used as a bit of a posturing month. I think Liverpool, any sort of transfer business they do, if this Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid goes through, they're going to need to wait for that to happen. That's likely to be in the summer. They're going to be able to use a lot of money, or they'll have to use a lot of money from that deal or any deal that takes place to rebuild their squad. So, yeah, it doesn't feel like a January one, this one, to me.
Villa, Donny Marlon, who we've seen play for Holland and Borussia Dortmund. It looks like Villa are pretty close to getting this done. They're saying it could go up to about 25 million quid as a deal and play anywhere across the front line. I wonder if they're looking to move somebody on, or would he just sort of add to what they already have?
Yeah, it feels like more of a financially manageable one, this one, doesn't it? In talks already, about 17 million quid, I think, plus bonuses. Dortmund are after. Villa have offered about 13.5 at the moment, but suspect they'll be able to come to an agreement on that one. It feels like a strange one, doesn't it? Because obviously they've been going so well in recent years, but if you speak to most Villa fans, they would accept that that position is somewhere they could definitely do with at least some more competition in, if it wasn't one to slot straight into the starting 11. But yeah, I fancy that one.
There's a few suggestions they might let Philogene go out on loan. And Ipswich could be interested. It's whether they want to do business with them. I mean, they're not in the same areas of the table at the moment, not much of a threat to Villa. But they did try and get him before he signed for Villa, but maybe he could go out on loan there, free a space up.
Just not sure they can afford to let people out the door, Villa, not financially, just with the sort of burden of games they've got this season, and they're not exactly flying with the players they have got.
No, you've seen that has affected them. Arsenal's going to be an interesting one because obviously Gabriel Jesus scoring again last night. He's showing a bit of form, although Ranieri did well coming in to that position for Saka last night. But they have been linked with Omar Marmoush from Eintracht Frankfurt. There's other clubs interested as well, Will.
Yeah, 25-year-old Egyptian striker in decent form this year. He's come out already and done the classic one and said, I'm not even thinking about that. There's always speculation, and I couldn't even tell you what I want to do for the future. All I'm going to do is commit to Eintracht and do my best for as long as I'm a player here. Liverpool, PSG and AC Milan also fancy him, but it's this perennial problem for Arsenal, is it, the number 9 position? And it feels to me, I don't know what you two think, it feels to me that if they want to get over the line, they need to make like a real elite level signing in that position. And with all due respect, he's got some good numbers, but he's playing for Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. It doesn't really feel like that's sort of the level of quality Arsenal should be going for.
It's a shame that John Fashion, who's retired, he'd be great for the way they play.
Oh, meow. And he's taking no prisoners today.
No, Dave Kidd was right. They don't thrill you, Arsenal. They're very effective and they're very solid. Right. But they're not what they were 2 years ago when he got them really playing some lovely football.
Are they closer to winning the title?
Maybe. I don't know. They do well to catch Liverpool. It's hard to see, because you don't know what's going to happen with injuries, but it's hard to see Liverpool slipping up.
Yeah, they seem to have the depth to manage it. I mean, if it was a very bad one, as if you lost the core of the team, 3 or 4 key players, it would be different. But at the moment, certainly up front, they proved with Jota, they've got options, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, 13 goals and 7 assists in 15 in the Bundesliga this season, this Marmoush. And they're good numbers. And it just, I don't know, it just feels like that they need someone a little bit more established with a bit more of a track record of posting such figures on a bit more of a consistent basis. Because I think it's fair to say that most fans listening, either of Arsenal or generally listening to talkSPORT this afternoon, perhaps 12 months ago, likely wouldn't have heard of him. And it just feels like perhaps, a little bit more of a marquee signing may be needed, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, it's very interesting with transfers and players and how 1 year to another year. I mean, Taiwo Awoniyi did so well for Forest. Now maybe it's not true, but there's a talk that they'll listen to offers for him. And he was on fire, wasn't he, before Chris Wood got there?
Davies, a Forest fan, said we need backup striker or competition for Chris Wood. I suppose in 1 year somebody would give you that, but maybe they've lost faith in him. He's suggesting Evan Ferguson on loan, Jonathan David from Lille, who's contracted Spurs.
Yeah, that's
I mean, a couple of Forest fans.
Brighton aren't going to lend Forest a player when they're both going for the sort
that would seem unlikely. And one of the other Forest fans has said, I just hope we sign Wood and Ola Aina on longer contracts and we don't sell anyone. But we were hearing from Kieran Maguire with Sam and Alex earlier on. The owner, Marinakis, has done a little bit of a business around loans, which sort of secures their possibilities to maybe spend a bit of money in January and beyond. So it'll be interesting to see what Forest do to build on where they are.
I think they will build on what they. He's a very ambitious man, and they're having an excellent season. There's no question about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Edu be on the book soon as well, injecting his professional wisdom. What just mentioned about Evan Ferguson there, I think he'll be a really interesting one to keep an eye on this month. There was we discussed, I think, Paul, last month, West Ham's interest, so it's after the Mikel Antonio was ruled out for the season, of course. Nicholas Füllkrug hardly pulling up trees in East London, but Brighton are in that funny position, aren't they, where do they risk, as Andy just said then, do they risk giving him out to a rival? We've seen the sort of form that he took the Premier League by storm with, so we know that Evan Ferguson can do it, but do they risk helping out a rival in the short term to get him sort of sharp and back to match fitness again? And in sort of a bit of short-term pain, long-term gain sort of thing, because if he's back fit and firing, you feel that, or certainly Brighton felt that he could be the mainstay of their front line for a while before any sort of yet another big money sale for Brighton.
Well, since we last spoke, finally, you're a West Ham fan, as we know, and you've lost Jared Bowen as well, six or so weeks. So do you expect them to go into the market? Have they been linked with anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it feels, I mean, we're perennially linked with everyone, to be quite honest, but it does feel that I think West Ham's strategy, we made some really good January signings over the seasons gone past. I'm thinking Thomas Souček, Vladimir Coufal were two. And it's a market West Ham have done well in, and it feels now, particularly with Bowen gone, and he's the biggest loss of any player. You ask any West Ham fan,
sure,
he would the one they'd least want to lose. And it feels like West Ham haven't got much of a choice, but also the prevailing feeling tends to be that, especially with the manager as well, that the season's kind of being written off a little bit by the club. So perhaps the appetite to spend big, whereas previous seasons we've sort of been on the verge of Europe, and you could kind of see a bit of return for a January investment pretty quickly. I imagine that sort of appetite may have been dampened somewhat. Fans would like to think that West Ham would go again, but I would sense that the feeling might be if they can limp through to the end of the season, then go big again in the summer.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.